Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie, and I would like to welcome you to episode number 24 of Doodle Gems. In this episode, we're going to do Green Aventurine. This is a beautiful green stone. It goes nicely in the center of this surprisingly simple sunflower. Let's get started. Right here, I have the color swatches for both Prismacolor and Crayola. I'm doing the gem in the Prismacolor, but for those who just have Crayola pencils, I wanted to list the colors here also. So if you're using Prismacolor, you will need dark green, grass green, apple green, true green, white, indigo, and a colorless blender. If what you have is Crayola, go and grab your pine green, the green, yellow-green, lime-green, white, and navy blue. And as always, if you have the ability to get it, I would suggest getting a white Prismacolor pencil and a colorless blender Prismacolor pencil. Get them open stock for a couple bucks each. It just makes making gems so much easier. I have about a 5.5 inch square here, and I'm going to be doing a flower that is 1/4 of a flower. So this would be a 10 inch across or 11 inch across sunflower if I made it full size. But I'm just making it to fit inside of this box, and it's only going to be 1/4 of the flower. So the gem is going to be right down here in this corner, and it's going to be 1/4 of what would be quite a large center. Quite a large center on here. But we're not making it that big. I'm just doing the gem in this corner right here. I'm not even worrying about the petals for the flower right now. We'll get to those in just a couple minutes. So to start off with, I want to go ahead and lay in a couple spots of just plain white that's going to go in underneath. It's going to be my bottom layer. And and you're not going to be able to see it. This doesn't show up yet. It will help. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making a couple sort of wedge shapes with irregular edges. I don't want them to be hard and really drawn on there like, oh, hard. But I want them to have edges that the colors that are going to be worked around them will flow and they will feather in. And really, you're not even going to see white. You're going to see You're really not going to see white in this part. You're going to see lighter values of the greens. So I'm going to set that white aside for a moment. I'm going to take my brightest green, which is the true green, and I'm going to lay it in here. Aventurine is an interesting gem. Some people classify it as quartz because it has a lot of quartz in it. And some people classify it as a rock because it has so much of the stuff that makes it opaque. And it's called fuchsite, which is like a chromium-rich mica. And on stones, when you see them in real life, they almost glitter because of the mica in them. Now, we're not going to be able to get quite that effect with the colored pencils. It would be like trying to make a sunstone, like the Oregon sunstone that has the great amount of sparkle in them. And they're still natural stones, You can get things that are called goldstone, which is copper filings basically that have been dropped into glass that makes a really pretty glittery material. We'll put it that way. It's a glittery material. It's not an actual gem. It's made of glass. And the Italians came up with it in the 1800s, the goldstone. That's the glass kind. But we have sunstone in Oregon that is gorgeous, but it tends to run more towards the oranges and the yellows and the reds, and not the green. And we're doing a green one here. Now I've been working my color around. I'm just giving it a nice even layer. This is like an underpainting that everything else is going to work over the top of. And you notice we have those two lighter patches in there from where the white was. Now I'm going to take my next darker of the greens, and that is the apple green. And I'm going to work some of this apple green in, a little bit in from that edge, and a little bit in around those whitish patches. So I'm basically leaving a margin of that lighter color on the very, very outside. Because of the way it interacts with the indigo blue, which I like, and I don't want it to go quite so bright, which is what it would do if it was going over the apple green. But this stone is primarily green, lots of greens. And it's pretty, and it does have a sparkle to it when you see it in real life. I don't know, I like it. I like the center that I came up with on my sample, and Aventurine. I keep saying Adventurine, but it's Aventurine, Aventurine. But it's pretty. And this is really kind of going bright, and that's okay. That's okay. We just keep working. We'll just keep working. And now I'm going to take the next darker green, which is the grass green. And I want to do a little bit of work right around where that patch was of white. I want to work some of this green in, sort of around that patch a little bit on one side of it, sort of like as if it were an inclusion of minerals that was causing a white patch, an actual white patch, not a highlight, but just an actual white patch. And there's sort of a shadow that was happening along the edge of it. A little bit. And I think I want a little bit of that shadowy bit, shadowness, down here. And I'm just working these greens. Remember, this is the grass green. And before I put the darkest green on, I'm going to grab the white and come in here over the white area again with all those greens and just sort of blend them down a little bit, even over into that edge of that darker green. And the same over here with this white patch down here. Now you can kind of see how it really was sort of a sort of in that wedge shape. And then I want to use some of the Colorless blender Colorless blender even out onto that far edge, way out on that edge. And I'm going to take it across some of this white and work some of these other colors into it. And my hand is moving in sort of a circular motion so that my pencil lines overlap each other. And that just helps to blend the colors better. Remember, a colorless blender is basically, in the Prismacolors, a wax pencil with a little bit of a binder in it. It's the same material that the rest of the pencils are made out of. It just doesn't have the pigment. I'm just giving the whole thing a nice, basically a burnishing. Nice burnish down. Because I'm getting closer and closer to the end of what colors I need to put in. And I like this Neenah cardstock. I like working on this. It's nice. I know a lot of people have a hard time with this smooth surface and getting lots of colors to layer. I don't have a problem with it. I like working on this really smooth paper. So I don't know. If you have a problem, you'll still want the paper to be fairly smooth. And you want it to be, you really want it to be sturdy. And that's why I use a cardstock, because I like how sturdy it is. And I also like how bright white this paper is. This is the Neenah cardstock. It's 110 pounds, and it's called Solar White. And people who make a lot of cards know all about this paper. I found out about it from people who are using it for their Copic markers, because it's one of the cardstocks that actually takes Copic marker really well, from what I've been told. I don't color with Copic markers. I have a set of the cheap Hong Kong markers that are the kind of knockoff markers, just so I could try. And I haven't had a chance to try coloring with them very much yet, because I'm busy doing videos using my colored pencils. And I know that not everybody has access to those markers. If anybody would like me to just play with them on a video, just show what I think of them. I can't give a totally informed review. I can give a little bit of a review on how I like them based on how I color. And right now I color like a color pencil person, not an ink pen person. So we'll just have to see how that would go. Now I'm looking forward to getting some more projects going, getting some more, I have some more ideas for things for the holidays that are coming up. I may not be doing as many gems during the holiday season. There will be a few, because I have a couple ideas for Christmas ornaments, tree ornaments, winter festival gifts that can be done with these gems. I just laid a little bit of the indigo blue in, and I'm just going to work it around a little bit. I laid it in to give a bit of a shadow and depth, and I am getting very close to pushing the edge of this paper with how much I have burnished. But one of the things that I'm enjoying about that is that I'm getting these little speckles that are starting to show up. And I try to work those colored specks back in to areas where it isn't that color to give me that sort of speckly, almost iridescent type of look. That speckly, almost iridescent type of look. It's almost there. It's almost there. All right, now what I want to do is take this white pencil again, take the white pencil, and I want to sort of work in some arcs of white on top of here. A little bit of white on top of here. Just a bit. It's not something that you can, it's not something you can see really, really well, but it's there. But it's there. Because this is not a translucent stone, or a transparent stone, it's a translucent stone. There we go. Get some of it right up on that edge. And then we are going to take the white Signo Uniball pen, the white Signo Uniball pen. So I think dot, dot, kind of a bigger dot. Yeah, maybe a really much bigger dot. And remember, this is a Signo Uniball pen. It is basically like, almost like a white acrylic in a pen. And if you get it started going, you can actually just sort of float the pen across, and the paint or the ink will continue to flow out. And I'm barely touching just to get a little bit of a line across there. And I think, I think I'm going to come across like this, just like that. And then, now that I've got that on there, I'm going to take the dark, 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 dark green. And I'm going to work some dark green in. Just because this is a shadow line now. But I'm going to make sure that I feather it in, that it's not a hard line. Not a hard line. Let's see what we get here. See how it goes. And then just blend in a little bit of the Colorless blender. Colorless blender right there. And yeah, I am going a little quiet here. Sorry, I'm just kind of mellow, I'm actually recording this on Sunday evening. Been a little busy this weekend, and I tend to I try to get these recorded during the week, but this week it just didn't happen. First week of school, the kids are all back, and I was a little bit more tired than I thought. And this is that indigo blue, and it's working better for darkening up this edge. It's working better for this. And I don't mind it going in and actually showing a tiny bit of blue even. Because Aventurine can be blue-green, tends to be more of a bright green. In some places around the world, because you can find Aventurine in a lot of different places. But in Ireland, I don't know that it's found naturally in Ireland, but any green colored stone is considered a lucky stone. And a lot of places, the green stone that you will find is actually Aventurine, because it has those little sparkly flecks in it. And people think of green when they go to Ireland anyway. So a lucky stone is usually some type of a green stone. And if it has sparkle in it, I think it sells better. Just my guess. That's not information that I found anywhere. But when I was in Ireland, I noticed a lot of green stones, but I didn't know what they were. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe drawing your own Aventurine will be a lucky stone for you. And doing it up big like this, it can be a little bit scary, because we're used to working, on something that would fit inside of this, not something so big that would be 4 times bigger if it were done the whole thing. But I think that's the stone. That's the Aventurine. Now we're going to get that sunflower drawn in. And I know that some people are like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. But it's not really going to be hard. First thing I want you to do is you can find something to give you an arc for your flower petals that fits inside of this area. I drew a box. You could have it fit on your piece of paper. I'm just going to give myself a pencil line arc that just sort of comes across, and it ends up touching at the top of the square right here. And it could actually touch on this one down here also, and just be an arc up here, right in there. And then what I'm going to do is, here's the center, and here's my outside edge. The petals are attached here, and to start off with, and I'm not going to do this in the pencil. I want to just go right in with my pen, but you can certainly do it in pencil first if that makes you happy. I'm going to make a row, and we'll put another little arc in here that's about 1/2 inch out from the center of that stone, from the edge of the center of the flower. Okay? And this is going to be the rough size of my petals that are right here next to this center. And before I get going, I'll go ahead and put a line for the outside edge. Like that. Just a little line. And you notice it doesn't have to be perfect, and if it goes off, it's no big deal. I have to switch pens because that one is trying to dry out on me. I don't want a pen drying out. So, now, you're going to start off with just making finger shapes. A long finger shape. First row, we're just going to go like this. And if you're feeling comfortable doing it, you can change the angle a little bit, and then you can fit one in behind there. So now I have a couple that are crossing each other. And that one's being crossed also. And then I want one that's kind of going this way. It sort of fell behind. And then one that's right here, because that's the one that was down below. But then maybe I want a couple more that are just straight. I want one that's maybe skinnier. A couple skinnier ones. A couple fatter ones. You see, it doesn't really matter. Now these ones here in the center that we were just making stand like little soldiers, you're going to want to go and get some little ones sort of stuck in behind them. A little bit more random. Some short, some tall. And you see how that broke up that little row of picket fences now? It's not quite so harsh. Not quite so regimented. And if you want, you can go in front and drop a couple littler ones. See how that makes more variation, more variety to it. And I'm just going to draw in some going up and down, some going side to side. Some can be even longer than our little guideline area. Some can be shorter. Some can flow in between. See, it doesn't have to be hard. And if you look at it, it's really just really long, skinny U-shapes. Really long, skinny U-shapes. See, if I start here at with the center above me, or to the top of the page, I start at the edge and I come down to this arc that's only about a half an inch out, 3/4 of an inch out, and then I hit that line and I turn around and go back. And go up, hit that line, turn around and go back. And I'm using a fairly fat nibbed pen. This is an 05. So my lines are a little bit heavier. If you're using a lighter weight or thinner pen nib, you will get more delicate lines. And that's okay too. Alright, so there. Made it all the way from one edge to the other edge. And then go back and look at it and say, do you need a little bit more petals in there someplace? Do you need a little more variety, a little more variation? An extra something going a different direction? There you go. And now we're going to start laying in these big petals. And you're going to say, oh, those are scary, they're terrible, they're hard. They're not. It's basically these little tiny petals, just bigger. So I'm going to start with my pen down in one of these little V shapes between two little petals. I'm going to go up, and I'm going to let it wiggle, and then go across and then wiggle, and then coming back down and stop. Okay, so I headed out to this line out here. This is a guideline. Guidelines are not rules. Guidelines give you a suggestion of something. I'm going to show you a couple tricks to make some fun petals in here. But first, I want to get a couple more, so I'm going to start again at one of these little V's between two little petals. I'm going to go up, and I'm going to let it kind of wobble. My hand isn't steady. Oh no. What's going to happen to this flower petal? Oh, look at that. It's wobbling all over the place, and it's not straight across the top, and oh, what am I going to do? You're going to have some really pretty petals is what you're going to do. Don't worry, just relax. I'm going to show you a trick here. Right here, between these two petals, there's this space. I am going to set my pen down in the middle of that space, kind of coming from one of those V's again. And this time, I'm going to try and keep the line fairly smooth-ish, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And it's just going to go up. And you notice I'm heading towards the petal with my straight line. Look at that. I'm just headed right into that petal, and I'm stopping. And then I'm going to start right here again, and I'm going to go up and leave it a little bit of a space and head into that petal. Oh my goodness, look at what we just did. We made it so that this edge is folded in. This petal edge is folded in here. This one is folded in there. Wow. Okay, so we're going to do it again, but I want to put another petal in so that you can see how easy it is to do that. So I'm going to go over about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little more. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to make my petal. And remember, the petal is going to go up, and it's going to be a little wobbly, and it's going to go out to that edge. And then I'm going to go across, and then I'm going to come back down. Ooh, that one got kind of skinny, didn't it? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So now you're going to set that right into one of those V's again, right into a V. And we're going to go up, 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 and touch. And look at how neat that is. That is all folded in right there. And then this one, we're going to go up, 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 and curve in. So now you've got a curved in edge here and a curved in edge here. And you have a curved in edge there. So we want to do another one here. We're going to come over. And this is just our first layer of the petals. There's going to be a couple more layers. Well, at least one more whole layer of petals, because that's going to give us variety. Starting there at the center, working my way up. Okay, so that one's a real skinny petal, isn't it? I want it a little bit wider. That's okay. I'm just going to come down here and join into it and bring it up. And you're going, but there's this line there now, and that's really going to freak me out. Don't worry, it's going to be camouflaged. By the time we're done, you're not even going to know it was there. And now this time, I'm going to come right up against that previous petal, and I'm just going to come up in a V a little farther up. So now I don't have to put those petals in next to them to get this. But you do want to sort of leave a space and leave a space. Ooh, that's a big petal. Look at that. Big petal. Okay, so since I made it so wide, I think I am going to go on the inside of that line and just work my way down to the middle. See, it works both ways. You can start up here and work your way all the way down, so that the petals sort of curl together right here. It's all up to you how you want to do it. So I'm going to, and I know right now it looks a little bit scary looking, doesn't it? Looks a little scary, but it's okay. Really and truly, this is okay. See how we can make those lines? And I don't think I'm going to stop at the edge of that box. I want to see the whole top of the petal. I want the whole top of the petal. There we go. And now I'm going to flip it around just to make it easier on my hand, easier on my eyes. I'm going to go to the center. So this is that petal. I'm going to go to the center right near that line that was there. There we go. So now we've got these places now in these petals that we're going to be able to have shadows. Shadows and shape. So now I'm going to come up. And I think this petal is going to be a little bit narrower at the top. Come down. And then I want the curve in. And a curve in. They don't have to start and stop at the same place. They can be in different spots. And here, I'll show you something on this one. This one's going to come up. Oh my goodness, it ran into the petal next to it. And then it's going to come back down. Now I've already got that folded over edge right there. And I'm going to come right up close to that and then come over. I'm just drawing a squiggly line inside the petal, going from the edge, swinging into the petal, and then going back down to all of those little tiny flower petals. You can do this. You can. I have a lot of faith in you, because it is something that you can do. You can make something special. And once you learn how to do this, you can make flowers for cards and for birthday gifts. You can do paintings. Once you have your basic flower down, you're not stuck for anything here. You're not stuck for anything. All right, so now we've got these top front petals. And you're going, I'm getting lost now. I don't know where I'm going. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put some detail in on these front petals. And you see all those wobbly lines that we've got? Those are the places where we're going to just put our pen down on the edge of the petal and drag in and lift the pen. Some of them are going to be long, some of them are going to be short. See how that goes? Look at that. I'm going to do that some more up here. All of these little jaggedy spots, those give you places for the petals to be ruffled. And I'm putting the pen down pretty hard on that line, but when I'm pulling it towards myself, I'm flicking the pen. Flicking the pen. Just giving it some flicks. And I'm going to work my way down. I'm going to go down here to the center. I'm going to flick up. And I'm going to flick up, but I'm not going to go on those outside pieces. Those parts that are curled in, I'm not going to touch those. Those are just going to stay white. They're just going to stay white. And it's going to look so cool because, one, it gives you a place to color, to give you solid color if you choose to. I'm not going to be coloring this time. And if you have a petal that doesn't have very many wobbly edges, you can just pretend that it's wobbly edges. Just pretend they're wobbly. Just pretend. I want a few more shadowy lines. So I just set the pen down and say, okay, make a shadow line. Make me a shadow line here. See, look at that. Your petals start looking more real. It's so, so fun. Oh, here's one that I forgot to do a curved in edge on. No big deal. I think that it's just going to have a little tiny edge. It has the one on this side. You'll be able to see it better once I get these dark lines. Dark, dark, dark down in the center, very, very center. And then they just go lighter as they're going up. And again, roughly edge at the top. Pen lines. Places to put your pen. Just makes it easier to remember where to go. And this one up here. I'm only doing part of the petal. Only doing part. Just doing part of the petal. So there we go. And we're going to do that over here. I should have made this a smaller flower on a smaller card so we'd get done quicker. But I didn't because it's more impressive. Pretty much anything in art, unless you're working in micro miniatures, is always more impressive when it's bigger. The difference between seeing an 8x10 of something and even a 16x20. And to some people, a 16x20 is like the smallest they work. And so for them, it's not impressive unless it's, you know, a 30x40 or a 48x60. But for me, this flower is almost life-size, is what this flower is. It's almost life-size. So again, remember, I'm going down to the top of those tiny petals, and I'm only drawing the lines where it would be on the inside, under the fold. So those folds, the top of those folds, now you're starting to be able to see them better. The top of those folds are going to stay white. Oh, I see a spot I could put some lines. So there we go. And again, it's actually a very impressive flower when you're done. But look at it. We're doing this one little flick of the pen at a time. It's not a hard thing to do. It's basic pen lines. But your friends are all going to go, oh yeah, where'd you buy that? They're not going to believe that you could do that. Because it's so pretty when you're all done. So, so pretty. Definitely one of those impress your friends type of projects. There we go. We're almost done with this first layer. you know, don't worry if you get pen on those parts that are sticking up. Don't worry about it. It's okay. And now I'm going to just go like this. Well, look at that. I just put another petal on. Not hard, right? Not hard. And I think I want a petal, but I'm just going to make it kind of weird shape there. Look at that. What was I thinking? And another weird shape. And another. Go ahead and have another. All right. Look at that. So then you're going, yeah, but what am I going to do? How am I going to make that look like a petal? Well, first, you're going to make your little lines. But you're going to make your lines closer. And the space that's between the petals, you're just going to make it dark. Because that's where that petal is in behind there. Look at that. Look at that. The petal just, it's got a petal in there now. That petal's there. And I'm going to put a petal right there. And then I'm going to make this space dark. And I want a space right in here that's dark. Just because it helps to give a little bit variety, a little bit of variation here. Separates the petals. Just making it dark in that space. This one's going in front, this one is behind. So I'm going to go ahead and just color that in black up to a point. But now where it's starting to show up more in this space, it's still going to have more lines than the petals in front because it's darker. But this petal up here at the top edge is kind of like the petals in front of it actually. But it's behind, so it's a little bit darker. This one right here, get this space here, and I'm using kind of a scratchy, scribbly pen line, but I'm going the direction of the petal. And now up here at the top, it's shadowed underneath there. Sometimes you just have to think, how is this petal made? What direction is the light going on this? Can I come up with how that goes? And then out here on the edge, we're just going to give it some lines. Okay, so this one's, get my lines in. I'm going to do that to all of these up here now. And you know, the closer you put lines together, the darker it appears. So if these lines in the one behind are closer together, they look darker. You don't have to have a solid black. You just want to have it so that the value is darker than the petals in front of it. So here, This one actually is getting a little more light right in here. Sorry this is taking kind of a long time, but it's fun, and really it's a very relaxing project. It's a very relaxing project. There's nothing hard in this. You're making lines. You're making pretty much just straight lines. It's not, you know, you don't need any special tools. You don't need any measuring guides. None of that. Now let's see. I think I want a petal that's right here. It's going to be even darker because that one really is in the back, behind everything. Look at that. And I think I want another one right here. And again, it's in the very back. So it's just going to be a dark petal. Because it's behind this petal, behind that petal is that one. Look at that. Easy, easy peasy. All right, I see a petal that needed some of its little dark lines in here. Lines that are closer together. There you go. This is down towards the base of that petal. And then these down here, just go and put some, you know, a few little lines, just a little line down the centers. And if you want, put some little extra, you know, double lines or little standy lines. Kind of a long line down the center and then some extra little lines shorter. If you tip some of your little petals there sideways, make sure that your line follows the direction of your petal. Easy peasy. Now, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you would click on the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of the video, and subscribe if you haven't already, so you'll get notification when I have new videos go up. And share this with your friends, people that you think might enjoy learning how to draw really cool gems. I want you to go out and do something creative. Take care. Bye-bye.